Hi everyone, Captain Damien Jeanette with the SWAPA Negotiating Committee and Economic and Financial Analysis Committee. Here are your second quarter 2021 financial results for Southwest Airlines. For the second quarter, SWAPA pilots flew 75% more departures in 2021 versus 2020. For the first half of 2021, we were down 32% in departures versus 2019. Remember, most management teams and analysts are using 2019 as a benchmark for the industry recovery. Our capacity, or available seat miles, which closely resembles departures, were up 86% compared to 2020 and down 16% versus 2019. You can see the recovery of the airline on a departure basis for the second half of 2021 as compared to 2019. Additionally, for the quarter, we only had 5 days with no flight cancellations. The highest was June 15th at 593 flights, and the second highest was the next day, June 16th, at 395 flights. Our fleet consists of 736 aircraft at the end of second quarter. We currently have 39 NG aircraft removed from the active fleet versus 93 a year ago, and no MAX 8s parked today. Last year we had 34 in long-term storage. On June 30th, we utilized 659 aircraft out of an available 736 aircraft. With 39 in storage, that means 38 aircraft are in maintenance checks, or in other words, a utilization of 89%. For the second quarter, our total revenue was $4 billion, up 297% from 2020, but only 32% of 2019 revenues. What are we watching at SWAPA? Our tried and true metric of adjusted operating income or loss tells you how the core business is doing. If you strip out special items like fuel hedge losses or gains, PSP, in other words, adjust for non-GAAP, what does the business look like? Starting from your left to right, you can see all of the second quarters of 2019 through 2021. 2019 was positive with $968 million versus 2020 with a $2.2 billion loss, and 2021 was a $162 million loss. We call this non-GAAP, but what does it look like on a generally accepted accounting principles level? On a GAAP basis, 2019 was a $968 million gain, 2020 was a $1.1 billion loss, and 2021 was a profit of $594 million. Why is this important? Because it relates to profit sharing. Profit sharing is calculated off pre-tax earnings, which includes interest expenses. But operating income and loss gives you a general feel of how well the business is doing. For the quarter, we accrued $85 million in profit sharing. Second quarter of 2020, we accrued nothing, and 2019 was $170 million. For the first half of 2021, or in other words, the first 6 months of the year, profit sharing accrual was $109 million. It's worth noting that we generated net income in June that represents the first monthly profit without taking into account the help of PSP proceeds. So profit sharing generation no longer has to be supported by PSP, and we now can stand on our own 2 feet. Turning to liquidity and money in the bank, Southwest has always done an impressive job managing cash during the pandemic. We use a term called net debt. Simply, it's the company's cash equivalents, and short-term investments minus long-term debts. Most companies were net debt, but Southwest has always maintained a net cash, or in other words, an excessive amount of cash versus their debts. For the end of the second quarter, we were $5.5 billion in net cash. We have $16.9 billion in cash equivalents, and short-term investments, minus $11.4 billion in long-term debts. Starting in 2019 in the left, 2020 in the middle, and 2021 on the right, you can see the changing balance sheet items by each quarter. Our leverage is 57%, and Southwest remains the only U.S. airline with a investment grade credit rating by all 3 of the rating agencies. The only airline able to do that during the pandemic. That's all the time that we have. Thanks for listening. I'm Captain Damien Jeanette.